We apologise, ladies and gentlemen, for that one going quiet here in the booth. Let you enjoy the sounds of the BMW M8s going around Phillip Island, though. Different sound. They're not the big, dirty V8s we're used to over in SimShed Broadcasting. A little bit of a different note, but nevertheless, they are flying around that. And how's this for an onboard shot of James Scott with Dylan Rudd all over the back of him in the rear view camera there? That's one good thing about these BMWs. You've got the rear camera in there to see what's behind you. Dylan Rudd with an absolute stellar drive out of the final corner. But plays it safe behind James because he knows once he's around James, that's it. James is going to have to be the attacker. So Dylan Rudd's playing the smart game here, going for pit times. He'll be saving fuel tucked up under the rear wing of James Scott there. And James Scott is not going to be wanting this at all. He's going to be wanting Rudd to go around him along with Kobe Williams and Josh Thomas so he can save fuel this time.
Yeah, 100%. Dylan's playing the smart game, I think, here, just buying his time behind James Scott.
James Scott knows what he's doing out on track, ladies and gentlemen. We apologise for these pictures. It's actually really starting to irritate us here in the booth because we want to be able to commentate on such amazing racing tonight, but nothing but technical issues, and we believe it is definitely the iRacing server. We'll definitely have to do that before we start up the RSRA Super Series and Super 2 Series. We'll be doing a lot of test streams, nevertheless, over at the SimShed Broadcasting crew here. So bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. Still live on comms. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we apologise for this, having to go to this screen here for you, but we are trying to resolve this. We've JP's exited out of the session. He's going to try and join back in and see if it's not just an iRacing server issue, and whether just quickly refreshing it for you is going to be a quick, easy solution. But James Scott still leading for you. Dylan Rudd, Kobe Williams, Joshua Thomas in the fight there. Jamie Dyke, Simon Chadwick, Blake Delaney, Rob Carmichael, Sean McNamara, Troy Maguire sitting at the top 10. Michael Whiting, Mitch Campbell, Dean Powell, Cameron Veacock, Anthony Jewell, Kyle Zink, Jamie Davis, Alexandra Newton, Ben Johannesson, and Toddy Hain, last invitational champion, is sitting down there in 20th position. Benjamin Siren, Betty Morris, Aaron Hayden, Blake Warboys, Alex Zaney, Ash Davis, and I've just lost my timing screen altogether because I fumbled on my mouse as I was scrolling down. Ash Davis, Andrew Laughlin, Simon Farrington, we'll call him Faz for the rest of the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. Brendan, John Lee, Scott Barton, Craig Schultz is in the server tonight as well, ladies and gentlemen. Hayden Sell, Tyson Hanmer, John Van Ree, Peter Morris, Nathan Brown, David Collin, Christopher Mitchell, and Ross Thallon down there in 40th position. Already a few retirements for the race as well, ladies and gentlemen. Jordan Sell and Peter Crossingham are out for the night. They're both 2 and 6 laps down. So they have retired nice and early tonight in the Invitational at Phillip Island for the BMW mates. We're working vigorously here, ladies and gentlemen. I have no pictures in front of me because I forgot to do the update tonight. It's a big update now that iRacing has done it. But nevertheless, I'll try and do my best for you to keep you entertained here. Give us a comment in the stream. Give us a like. Give it a share. Try and talk to us and see how your night is going. I'm sure it's going a lot better than us. You're probably sitting back on the couch with a nice hot meal and a nice ice-cold beer or Canadian Club. I believe Zach Caven, once he finishes up the GSRC, he will be joining in on the Terps on that one and having a nice cold Canadian Club. After that one, the man, the voice, He's one to really scream down the mic, and we look forward to getting him back in the booth as well for the RSRAs on Tuesday nights. No news yet though from my offsider here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. JP, he's still working vigorously to load back in to get everything for you. He's doing one last check for us to make sure that it's nothing on his end to eliminate all those issues. We've had issues like this before in the past, and it's as simple as an OBS setup where it is flicked from JP's screen, the graphics card, to his actual CPU to pull all the graphics out of the CPU. But it's definitely not doing that for us because we've got full frame rates tonight. It is just the cars glitching out tonight. Almost like there's a netcode going on in the servers. But nothing else has really changed on the field, ladies and gentlemen. They've all evened themselves out. They're all playing the smart game. They're all sitting in one another's slipstream and saving that little bit of fuel. Dylan Rudd is scratching the back bumper, though, of James Scott to get around him. And he's going to be playing it smart. He's hovering there, just a tenth behind him. All right, ladies and gentlemen, flick your screens on. Let's see what goes on here. Have we fixed the issue? Was it a quick refresh of the iRacing server? Thank you for those who have stayed with us to get these live pictures back on screen. By the looks of it, they've sorted themselves out. Quick livery refresh for Dylan Rudd there in P2. But they're single file as they come into Honda. No big overtaking opportunities for these guys around Phillip Island. Dean Powell now. Dean Powell has made his way back up to 12th position. He's up one from where he started. He's having a stellar race tonight. Just in front of him, Rob Carmichael from the Fishy Motorsports crew. Mitch Campbell just in front of them from the 9ine5ive boys. So Dean Powell, he's a lot more comfortable in this by the looks of it than what he is the supercar. He's a stellar driver in that as well, so don't count him out for next season. Alex Zaney on board now. These things are easy to drive, ladies and gentlemen. You want a nice, easy car to drive in the iRacing server? This is it. They've got traction control. They've got ABS. They've got the lot. To spin one of these cars out, you'd have to have all that turned off, which a lot of drivers do, mind you, but a lot of them tend to keep the traction control on just to save themselves from spinning out, because once these cars do develop a slide, ladies and gentlemen, they aren't easy to get back, as you see, looking back there from Benny Siren. One of the, I believe that might have been Schultze. Benny Morris, my apologies. There we go. Benny Morris having a bit of a slide coming around into the final corner. On board now, Rob Carmichael. Dean Powell goes up on the inside of him. That's move done for Dean Powell. He's now up into 11th position, chasing down Mitch Campbell. So he's on a mission to get inside the top 10. Defensive move done. Rob Carmichael succeeds beautifully, and they'll just go single file. This is going to be a race to watch for the rest of the race, ladies and gentlemen. Lap 13 of 45. Around Phillip Island, the stunning track, beautiful views. Looking out over the Pacific. On board now, Alex Zaney. Around the left he goes. Big slide there by Kyle Zink by the looks of it.
Yeah, that's opened the
door. Big slide by Kyle.
That's opened the door right up for Alec.
Side by side, they go across the top of the hill. Does Kyle have a look? He decides to stay on the racing line. Alec goes defensive. That allows Kyle to get a little bit of a run up onto him, coming through the final couple of bends. Come onto the straight. There's a fun car by the looks of it on the entry to pit lane. Dean Powell, Rob Carmichael, side by side through turn one they go. Dean Powell plays defensive. Rob Carmichael all over the back of Dean Powell now as they shoot round to the left to come onto the back straight. Down into Honda.
Yeah, here we go. Look at this.
Carmichael up
having a
on the
look.
inside. All coming team power. Does it get it done? Side by side, they go through Honda. 9ine5ive slots in behind, succeeds to Rob Carmichael. That's move done. 9ine5ive drops back into 12th position. Rob Carmichael in 11th. Not much has changed at the top of the field. If anything, nothing has changed at the top of the field, ladies and gentlemen. James Scott still leading the race. Josh Thomas still the fastest lap with a 1:24.68. No one's been able to knock him off that podium tonight for the fastest lap of the race. There's still a long way to go, though. Not a very hot track, ladies and gentlemen. Tyres won't be fading too quick. But look at this, a 4-car freight train for the lead. The biggest winner in this one, Delaney. Delaney sitting back, my apologies. Josh Thomas sitting back there in 4th position, getting all the slipstream in the world, saving all that fuel that he possibly can so he can undercut these guys in the pit stop. It's going to be a race on pit lane, ladies and gentlemen. Who can get out of their pit bay quickest? Benny Morris now, through turn 1. 3-car train here. Benny Siren Blake Warboys around him. How good's that delivery by Warboys look, JP? That's a very bright and extravagant livery sitting on that one with the aqua, the blue and the red.
Yeah, it's absolutely stunning, mate. You're certainly not going to miss that one. Here we go. Ben's having a look.
Benny Morris up the inside. Does he get it done? Yes, he does. And that invites Warboy into the battle as well.
Really well done there.
Very good, hard battling around here in the BMWs. This is the most overtaking we've seen, ladies and gentlemen, since the stream has started. The boys are starting to light up tonight in the BMW mates. Little bit of damage by the looks of it on the front of Benny Siren's car. So that's going to help Blake Warboys. James Scott now with a little bit of a buffer. Still only 4 tenths in front of Dylan Rudd as they come through turns 3 and 4.
Now, Matt, I've been having a look at this. Now, Dylan gets pretty close to James, but then he sort of backs off a little bit. I'm just wondering whether he's buying his time and just staying there behind James.
He'd definitely be buying his time, JP. The slipstream in these cars are big. Once you get up under that rear wing and in the slipstream, the speed is significant. They throw out a lot more slipstream curve than what a supercar would. And you can save a lot more fuel more easily in these cars than what you could in a supercar. I mean, 2.4 litre fuel burn around here a lap. I believe the supercars are up there around the 4.85 to the 5.1 litre fuel burn in an actual race. So Anthony Jewell, though, the inside of his teammate, my apologies, not his teammate, they look the similar liveries at the front, but up the inside of the number 1.
Yeah, gets the move done on Todd Hayne, but Todd's not going to give up that easily.
Todd Hayne having an absolute shocker tonight, ladies and gentlemen. He is down the field in 14th, 5 positions away from where he started. So that's not where he wants to be challenging that number 1 plate. So by the looks of it, that might be getting handed over tonight. Anthony Jewell, though, runs a little bit wide. Todd Hayne had a look. Let's go around the outside. Doesn't get it done. Does he tuck into the slipstream? He's close enough here to have an absolute stellar run onto the main straight. He's only a 10th away, right up on the rear bar. Tucks out a little bit too early. Side by side. That's a drag race down the famous straight at Phillip Island, overlooking the Pacific. Around the outside. Thought he's going to be going. Jewell pulls out nice and early, lets him go. Todd Hayne around the outside makes it look easy. Anthony Jewell succeeds.
Here we go. Sorry, it looks like we've got a bit of an incident here. Something with Simon Chadwick. We'll go to the replay and see if we can make anything out of it.
Alrighty, that's not good news. Chadwick had an absolute stellar qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. Simsat.com racing photography replay for you. What happened to Chadwick? Is it his own doing? Yeah. Just locks the rears, or locks the front, gets the rears dancing, and around Chadwick goes. He's plummeted all the way down to 35th position, ladies and gentlemen, as he has to wait for nearly the entire field to go past him. And that is a pain to spin there, ladies and gentlemen, because once you've spun there and you're in traffic, you've got to wait for everybody to go around because these cars aren't easy to do a flick spin on, especially when you've got the traction control turned on. They don't handle the curbs as well either, so you'll see them hugging the asphalt quite a lot and only taking very minimal curb. On board now with the 951. We know the number of that one. That's Sean McNamara. Battling it out there was Troy Maguire. There for 6th, 7th, at 7th and 8th position there, ladies and gentlemen. So McNamara up in the top 10 still, only down for 1 from where he started. Big movers tonight. Anthony Jewell, though, up 22 positions. Ben Johannesson up 11th. Benny Morris up 20 positions. Mitch Campbell up 17 positions. Started 27th. He's just made it inside the top 10. Jamie Davis up 19. Biggest losers, though, ladies and gentlemen. Peter Crossingham retired from the race nice and early. He's down 28. Simon Chadwick, he's the biggest one out of the entire field to lose out. Down 33 positions. So not a good night in the office for Chadwick there. It might be the 104 years of age is getting to him. I know he's going to hate me for that one, but I know the 9-5 boys are definitely going to be having a laugh at that one. On board, though, with Mitch Campbell, the biggest mover. Now to James Scott, still in the lead. And it's still a 4-car freight train. These boys don't want to make a move. They don't want to show their hand just yet. They want to let James Scott. They know he's quick, so they want to save as much fuel as possible. But by the looks of it, Dylan Rudd is on to be able to be quicker than him, but it could also be a strategy by James Scott, JP, that he might just be slowing up just a little bit to do a little bit of his own fuel saving.
Yeah, 100%. This is going to be really interesting here, that battle up the front. I get the impression that Dylan's just saving a little bit of fuel, waiting for that first pit stop to come in. He's probably going to put less fuel in the car than James and see if he can make some gains that way. But yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what the wash-up's going to be from that.
That's a race on pit lane by the looks of it, ladies and gentlemen. And James Scott has to be careful as well as we go to another simsnap.com iRacing photography replay for you. Benny Morris on screen. What happens here to Benny Morris? We're about to find out and see. Through turns 3 and 4, just gets a little bit fast through there, loses the back end. And unfortunately, off the track he goes. Into the sand strap, lucky enough to get that car going again. Popped back out on track. And he's all the way now down in 20th position. Only lost out on a few there. So very lucky not to go off into the wall, Benny Morris there. But back to what I was saying. James Scott has to be careful that he's not holding up the boys too much where they're doing their own fuel saving whilst having the slipstream to their advantage to save more fuel. So it's going to be an interesting one to see where it pans out as they just make their way around a bit of lap traffic there as they come down the back straight. Dylan Rudd, though, still just playing the waiting game, waiting for the pit stops to come round. The pit window is open, ladies and gentlemen, for them to come in and make their pit stops to be able to get home. Only 25 laps to go before the Invitational by 9-5 boys is over and done with. And we get to the post-race. Speak to our 1, 2, and 3 position holders. Get a little, congratulate them with their prizes and get Macca up on board as well. And also pronounce our the Coleman medal as Macca likes to call it. So a Coleman medal for the best on track tonight as well, ladies and gentlemen. Will get awarded to one, and no doubt that's going to be going to one of the boys who's made up the most positions.
Yeah, and you see here, look, Dylan's got a great run out here, but it looks like he just pulls up short of trying to have a go on James Scott here.
He has a fairly cracking run out of the last corner. James Scott isn't too comfortable in the final corner there, JP, and it allows Rudd to get a really nice run. As you see through turns 3 and 4 here, Rudd gets right up onto Scott and then just lets him get away because he's just got so much more pace at the moment than Scott. But it's not hindering him too much. He's still able to stick with him even after making a couple little mistakes, trying to not run into the back end of Scott there. As we see Josh Thomas all over the back now of Kobe Williams. He's playing the smart game as well, along with Kobe Williams. They both know that they've got the pace to run with Scott. They're just playing the safe game. Josh Thomas there is pulling off a little bit, pulling off the pack. We wonder what's... Maybe he's copped a slowdown?
It could be, but going back to James Scott and Dylan Rudd, last laps, both of them did a 125.79. So, you know, I think there's a little bit of gamesmanship going on there. Now, I'm wondering whether Josh has got a bit of fuel problem here.
Well, they're fueled to go to lap, I believe, 26 from memory.
Yeah, if he had a fuel problem, he's not showing it. He's gone straight past the pit entry. So maybe, like you said, he's copped the slowdown, and now he just has to work to get back on the end of that front freight train.
And it might be a thing to show pace in there. He's already on the back of Kobe Williams already. So Josh Thomas definitely has the pace to stay with those boys up the front and really give it to the ones, especially James Scott. We know he's quick, as my SDK just finally refreshes itself, and it just shows Josh Thomas dropping off the pace again. But on board at the moment with Dave Coleman. I'll get that the live timing back up on my screen, ladies and gentlemen, so it's up to date. But on board now with the Fishy Motorsports crew, the 364 of Dave Coleman, as he comes over the top of the hill and down the chute. A tricky little braking zone in there with the supercar. Down, I believe it's going to be tricky in the BMW as well. I haven't actually driven one of these around here yet, JP. I'm not sure about yourself either, but they're a nice, comfortable car to drive and very easy on the brakes. But once you get out of control on the brakes, they're not easy to catch.
Look, they're a very friendly, a very user-friendly sort of car. These, you can sort of throw them around a little bit, but like any car, once they start to break loose, they are a bit of a handful.
A handful they are. You can't catch them as easy as what the boys will be used to in the supercar, but they are still having a stellar drive. As we see the first of our pitters in, Kobe Williams in, Jamie Dyke is in. So Kobe Williams has pulled off the front of the pack. He's made the move to go into the pits and fuel. He's going to try and get the undercut over Thomas, Rudd and Scott.
Now, remember, these guys don't necessarily have to take tyres, and they probably won't take tyres, given how long they need to be stationary for that. So it'll more likely just be a fuel stop for him.
Fuel only for this race, definitely, JP. And ladies and gentlemen, the tyres don't get done while you are taking fuel like a supercar. So the tyres get done either prior or after you take fuel. Either one, doesn't really matter. But the 8 seconds to take tyres gets added to your pit time. So it's not mixed in with the fuel, so it definitely makes it longer. If you had a nice 8-second buffer, though, against the guy behind you, you could easily do that if you were in first position. But then you've got the couple laps for those tyres to come alive. And these tyres don't come alive on the first 2 to 3 laps.
Here we go. They're pulling the trigger.
Got it right into the pits.
Just to correct you there, Matt, unlike the supercars where they put their tyres on while they're fueling, these guys, they put their tyres on one side at a time. So you're looking at around about 40 seconds or thereabouts for 4 tyres.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I just got corrected myself there. But it's the race on pit lane. We're looking at the moment. Blake Delaney stays out. Michael Whiting stays out. Rob Carmichael, what does he do? He stays out as well. Same with Dean Powell. He's out. But look at this. A flurry of action in the pit lane. The boys are taking on fuel. Drive-through penalty for one of the boys. And Dylan Rudd gets the jump over Scott. Look at the time difference, ladies and gentlemen, from the amount of fuel that Rudd had to save, or got to save behind Scott, to how much work Scott had to do on fuel. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Kobe Williams gets the jump. 3 seconds in it, ladies and gentlemen. 17.78 seconds to Rudd. 18.6 seconds to Kobe Williams. 20.20 seconds in the pit bay for James Scott. So that is the difference, ladies and gentlemen. The fuel saving to bleeding the pack. And now this is Dylan Rudd's race to lose. He's the provisional race leader at the moment.
Yeah, this is really interesting. And like I said, I just had the impression that Dylan was sitting behind James there, just saving fuel, waiting for that pit stop to come around. So there we saw it. He was able to capitalise on that, put less fuel in the car, and was able to jump him in the pits.
Jumped him in the pits, he did. We'll wait and see. Dean Powell, Rob Carmichael, Todd Herring now in the pits. Blake Delaney stays out for another lap with his teammate Michael Whiting. So only a few cars to pit so far, ladies and gentlemen. The pit lane is going to start lighting up lap by lap. Another few more cars in there. Cole Zink, Jamie Davis, Blake Warboys now in the pit. They're taking their pit stop.
So this is going to be interesting now. Blake Delaney is our race leader, but it looks like our once all these pit stops cleanse, Dylan Rudd's going to be the man in charge.
Provisional race leader, Dylan Rudd definitely will be our new race leader. Once Delaney and Whiting take their pit stops. 11-second gap from Delaney back to his teammate Whiting. Then another 30 seconds back to, sorry, my apologies, 18 seconds back to Dylan Rudd there. So 30 seconds behind the leaders, Dylan Rudd is at the moment.
Here we go.
Delaney in the pits. What does Whiting do? Does he stay out for one more lap? Hugs it nice and tight. He's going to be coming in most likely. In comes Whiting. Where's that going to put them out once they've retained their pit stop? Dylan Rudd now comes over the hill. He's got Williams and Scott for company not far behind him. We know he's strong coming off the final corner. He's got a little bit of slipstream from the car in front. He's within that second. It's a lapped car.
Now Delaney's in his box and so's Whiting.
There goes Rudd, Williams and Scott buzzing by the pits. But Williams all over the back of Rudd at the moment coming into turn one. Doesn't have a look, plays it safe for now, waits for the right moment to pounce on Rudd to take the race lead away from him. They've shown good pace, these two, and so has Scott. Scott hasn't been able to shake him all race. Williams with a run into Honda. Doesn't have a look. Bit of side-by-side action for McNamara there against Rob Carmichael. McNamara down now to 9th position, Rob Carmichael in 8th. Those two have both taken their pit stops. We'll grab a replay of that one because that looked like a hairy onboard shot from Macca's point of view. Down into turn one, JP, talk us through.
Yeah, he's having a look there on Rob Carmichael, making a move on him, but that's a difficult place to pass there. He's not able to make it stick. Coming through there, through the southern loop. Looks like it's all going to happen for him at Honda Corner. So maybe he makes a move on Rob here at Honda Corner, but he's got to come from way back to do that.
Doesn't get the move into Honda, unfortunately. He's just going to sit behind Carmichael there and play it safe. So we'll see what happens on the live pictures for you, ladies and gentlemen, throughout the race and see what goes on there. But he's treating this car a bit like a supercar coming into turn one there. Sure, McNamara is. You've got to realise the BMW's got a lot of downforce. You can take the outside of turn one there with no dramas and hold it to the road. But look at this, ladies and gentlemen. The 3 leaders. James Scott up the inside of Williams has a look into Honda. Does he get it done? Yes, he does.
And that was
James
nice and
Scott
clean.
up in a second position. Comes from way back. Has a little look. Dives it up the inside. And James Scott promotes himself to second position on that one. And now the chase to Dylan Rudd begins. What can James Scott pull out of the hat now?
So maybe James was doing a little bit of saving of his own there in that first stint, but he's really coming on strong now. He's having a good hard look at Dylan now.
All over the back of Dylan Rudd, James Scott is, as they come through the final couple of corners onto the main straight. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, crank up the volume. We'll jump on board with Dylan Rudd and get what it sounds like in the cockpit of the BMW M8. Sorry about that one, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have to cut that hot lap short on board Dylan Rudd, but we have a safety car. Safety car, boards and flags are out. We'll no doubt get a little prompt from race control coming through, no doubt, to say what's going on with that one and why a safety car has been brought out. Might be a bit of debris on track, or maybe even a track clean. So see what goes on in the replay here. Might be a car off, made a bit of a mess. Simon Chadwick, don't tell me he's the cause of the safety car, because that'd make his night even worse.
Yeah.
Oh, no!
Look at that.
Simon Chadwick just comes off the track. No point in hitting the brakes when you get out there. Into the tyre barrier he goes, and that's his BMW toast. There's the reason for the safety car, ladies and gentlemen.
And that's just going to bring the whole field back together again. Game on.
It's game on now in it, JP, and ladies and gentlemen, the whole field bunches back up. 3 laps under safety car behind the iRacing safety car. Lights are ablaze on top of that one. Let's run through your top 10 quickly while we're at it. Dylan Rudd, James Scott, Kobe Williams, Josh Thomas, Blake Delaney, Jamie Dyke, Michael Whiting, Rob Carmichael, Sean McNamara, and Troy Maguire rounding out your top 10. So, the race restart. There's going to be a lot of argy-bargy, a lot of nose-to-tail action, getting the push. Everyone's going to be in the slipstream, though. So everyone's going to be wanting to try and dial it in and get the moves done nice and early. And what's this mean now fuel-wise, JP? Now, if the safety car had to come out in the first stint, a little bit different. But now that everybody's pitted at least once, there's a couple people down there that have pitted twice. What's this going to mean on fuel numbers? You've obviously been able to fuel save a little bit behind the safety car. If you took on that minimal amount of fuel, does that mean it's an all-out sprint to the end, or would you still be wanting to quite potentially play it safe under fuel?
I'm pretty sure we're looking at a one-stop race here. I mean, if there was any fuel saving going on, if somebody did short fuel their car, they've probably just dodged a bullet here by being able to get behind the safety car. And unlike a live safety car, usually the iRacing safety car will take them around for 2 to 3 laps.
2 to 3 lap iRacing safety car it is. We've already gone round once or twice. This will be the last time. Watch to see the lights go out atop of the safety car. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll get back under racing, and then we will come back on board Dylan Rudd or James Scott, whoever our leader is, for an on-board hot lap to listen to the sounds of the BMW M8 around Phillip Island. But there it is. Safety lights are out. One more lap to go, ladies and gentlemen. Now, obviously, restart, JP, that's going to be the tricky one. What are you going to be wanting to do on that one?
Yeah, look, I mean, for Dylan, it's all about just keeping his nerve, sizing up the guys behind him, especially James. Try to see if you can catch him napping and get on the gas a little bit earlier. For James, it's going to be anticipating where Dylan's going to get going, and hopefully getting a good start, getting right behind him. Maybe trying to make a move down into turn 1 if you can. Otherwise, waiting and making a move into the southern loop.
Well, it's going to be an interesting one, ladies and gentlemen, to see who's going to get the good jump on the restart, who's going to be crashing out, who's going to make the silly move and give it someone a little tag. Through Honda they come.
Yeah, nerves are going to be high, mate. With 15 laps to go on the restart there, nerves are going to be really high. Expect, and we all know that safety car breeds safety car, so these guys are going to have that on their mind as well. Tyres going to be a little bit cold, so yeah, it's going to be very interesting on the restart.
tyres don't really cool off around here. You see the boys weaving in and out there to try and keep the warmth in their tyres. They're going to be riding the brakes. One good thing about these cars, ladies and gentlemen, you rest your foot on the brake and it generates brake temperature. You don't have to do brake pad changes around here in the iRacing server. They haven't really gotten to that point yet. So what you do is you ride the brakes, you build up the brake temp. What happens with that brake temp? It's got to go somewhere. It radiates through the rim into the tyres, and that's how you build your tyre temp up and keep those tyres warm. Safety car's about to come in. We're going to go racing under green any moment now, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. Safety car pulls in. The field is under control by the man on your screen there, Dylan Rudd from the 9ine5ive SimSport crew. When's he going to jump? Now.
He goes early.
Right on the apex. Goes early. Has a good jump. That leaves Scott dragging him down. Scott has got to chase him down now, and that he's done. He's got into the slipstream. A big, hard restart at Phillip Island, ladies and gentlemen. So you've got to contend with the slipstream that you're giving off to the driver behind you. By the looks of it, everyone's got through nice and clean with through turn 1, through turn 2, 3 and 4. Todd Hayne on your screen. Last Invitational champion, hovering down there in 11th position. James Scott, Kobe Williams, Josh Thomas, all over the back of Rudd now. But this has invited Delaney and Dyke onto the field, onto the back of this train. And look at this, ladies and gentlemen, a big, big field it is. Only 30 cars on the lead lap at the moment. Make that 29 cars on the lead lap at the moment. Alexander Newton on your screen, the 313 with the Racecraft livery plastered all over it.
There's a lot of shuffling going on there. Cars weaving in and out, moving, passing. This is great stuff.
As I said, 29 cars on the lead lap. Make that now 24 cars on the lead lap. I don't know if that's an iRacing server. Well, there's an incident in the background there by the looks of it. A lot of tyre smoke going up in the air. There's a bit of a gap to the cars behind. We'll see if we can get a replay of that one for you, ladies and gentlemen, find out exactly what happened. Who was involved in that one?
Looks like that could have been Benny Morris. Not entirely sure. Just sticking with this action here because I think it's going to be on very, very shortly.
This is one to watch, ladies and gentlemen, the battle for the lead. These four drivers have proven themselves tonight. Who's going to be taking home the #1 plate from the 9ine5ive Invitational here at Phillip Island for the Phillip Island 200. We'll call it the 200. It's 199.8 kilometres for the BMW Mates Monday Night Motorsport.
You know, in all of this, Josh Thomas is actually in the box seat. Rudd, Scott and Williams are right there with each other, racing so closely. Thomas is sitting back there just looking and waiting for something to happen so he can capitalise.
Thomas playing the smart game down there in 4th position, waiting to see what happens with these guys. We know that they're clean races, ladies and gentlemen, as Williams runs a little bit wide over the top there. We know they're clean races. We know they're hard races. We know that they're not going to be making silly mistakes. And they know they're not going to be making silly mistakes. Look at this, 2 car length gap to Scott. Only 0.3 of a second. It looks like a lot, but it's not. Gets the slipstream down, makes his way up. 124.67 for James Scott. He goes fastest tonight for the fastest lap of the race. He's on fire at the moment with a little bit of clean air. So don't mistake him. If he gets round Rudd, that is it. James Scott is going to look to bolt. Dylan Rudd, immense pressure on him at the moment. Does James Scott have a look up in the Honda?
Yeah, we've got a race on our hands.
We got a race on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. No doubt about that. JP's called it.
Look, I think James has been really smart here. He's following Dylan. He's looking for his weak spots. He's looking to see where he can make the move. He knows that if he can get close enough, going out of the final turn there, he can make a move down Gardner Straight.
Gardner Straight, the long front straight at Phillip Island Circuit, where you make up all your time tucked up under the rear bar. Look at this in the rear view camera of Dylan Rudd. James Scott's lights all over the back of him. But Dylan Rudd has been strong through these final corners.
Have a look at Kobe Williams now.
Williams with a run on Scott. What's Williams got for Scott down the Gardner Straight at Phillip Island? Does he have a look up the inside? Plays it smart for now, just rubs the back bumper, lets him know that he's still there. Draining paint all over the back of that Astro Gaming BMW. A livery that you will all be familiar of within the iRacing server. On screen now, Troy Maguire in 8th position. Rob Carmichael, Sean McNamara around him. And Rob Carmichael in the mix as well. Sorry, my apologies. Jamie Dykes just in front, so that's Rob Carmichael. 3 wide into Honda, don't mind you. Almost 3 wide going through Honda Bend. That's something you don't see every day. You won't be able to do that in a supercar, ladies and gentlemen, but you sure can do that in a BMW M8 in the GTE.
Yeah, they're being...
Now to hold it flat.
Being very nice here.
Ain't this some racing for Monday Night Motorsport, ladies and gentlemen? How about this? The action's turned on in the final laps of the race. Lap 34 of 45, ladies and gentlemen. Just about to click over 10 laps to go.
Now, Dylan's going to have a run here. He's closer than he's ever been to the back of Rudd's car.
And Scott's going to have a run here. What's he going to do coming down the Gardner Straight? We know James Scott's quick on the straight under slipstream. Does he have a look? He shows half a nose to Rudd. Doesn't quite throw it right up on the inside. Does he set himself up to come around 3 and 4 for Honda? By the looks of it, he is. Through 3 they go. Through 4 they've gone. Onto the back straight they come. James Scott closer than he's ever been into Honda. What's he going to do? He's got Williams all over the back of him though. Williams starts out under Scott. What's he going to do? Throws it up the inside.
Oh, no!
Oh! Williams and Scott collide in Honda and send Scott round. That's big, ladies and gentlemen. Williams spins Scott. We'll get a replay of that one to see exactly if it was contact or not, or if it's just Scott's own doing by locking up the rears. Into Honda, off the back straight. Into Honda, they're coming. Kobe Williams throws it up the inside of Scott. Look at this for some slow-mo action, ladies and gentlemen. Scott closes the door on him, and Kobe gives him a little bit of a nudge. Little bit of net code, maybe.
No, that was contact.
Didn't look like much. Didn't look like much in it though, so definitely contact. That puts Scott buried in 6th position. He's got his work cut out for him to make up all that time. It's going to be hard. He's got Dyke and Delaney in his path.
Yeah, he won't.
Does that handout?
He won't be too happy about that, I'd say.
No, he definitely won't. And does that hand out a penalty to Williams? We're going to have to find out. But look at this. Williams all over the back of Rudd now. That's what he wanted. He wanted Scott out of the way so he can have a look up in the inside of Rudd. Inside of Honda, he goes to Rudd and makes it done. Makes the move clean. No contact on that one. Rudd slots in behind Williams now. Thomas still waiting to pounce to make his move. He's just waiting patiently down there in 4th position, watching the action go on in front of him. He was lucky not to get caught up on the lap before between Williams and Scott.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting what race control make of this.
Wait to see what race control make of this, ladies and gentlemen. They might hand out a penalty, they might not, they might see it as net code. We'll see what has to happen, but there was definite contact between Williams and Scott on that one. Whether Scott called it in though, that's another point.
Now it looks like we've got we've had an incident with Michael Whiting as well. We won't go to it just yet, but we'll see if we can go to it once this settles down a bit.
I don't think this action's going to be settling down at all, JP and ladies and gentlemen. This is on for the end of the race by the looks, but it's going to be an all-out sprint. Lap 37 of 45 as they come around 3 and 4 onto the back straight to come into Honda.
Yeah, I think you're 100% correct there. I don't think it's going to calm down at all. These guys are going to give it their absolute all right until the very end.
Oh, that's spread flat to the board, these boys goes. And look who's slowly creeping up. 10th by 10th. Blake Delaney slowly coming into the picture. He's turned it on. His teammate not far behind him, Jamie Dyke. So the Fishy boys sitting 4th, 5th and 6th. Well, my apologies. 3rd, 4th and 5th. Got in 6th position. He's a fair way behind Dyke at the moment, so he's got big ground to make up. I don't think he's going to be trying too hard. I think he's just going to call it in that position tonight. He's had an absolute stellar race. He'll be gutted with that contact with Williams. Through the final couple of corners, coming on to Gardner Straight. Williams strong through the final corners, just as is Rudd. These three have started to spread out a little bit. There's a couple little gaps in between them. Rudd has a little bit of run on Williams. So does Thomas. Thomas gets the drive on Rudd. Through turn 1, Thomas is right up on the back of Rudd. Rudd now onto the back of Williams. They're trading gaps left, right and centre, ladies and gentlemen. And we've just got news in on my messages here that there is a drive-through for 9ine5ive. If you're looking at what's scrolling on the bottom of your screen, ladies and gentlemen, you know the number. That is Kobe Williams. The contact on James Scott in the Honda corner. So Kobe Williams is going for a trip to pit lane. This now promotes Dylan Rudd back into the lead and Thomas into 2nd position. So
no
it's going to be...
No surprises there, mate. No surprises there at all, Matt. But when that happened, Dylan had a really bad run there and Josh was able to capitalise on him. So let's see what happens here.
Tyres starting to go off by the looks of it for Rudd. He's pushed hard all race. Saved a little bit behind Scott. Let's see what Williams does. Does he pit now? I believe he would. Does he take the drive through? Stays out for another lap. He'll serve it as late as possible. He'll try and put the foot down to the floor. Try and make up as much time as he can so he doesn't lose out on too much.
And
Big
right
move
now,
so far.
I think that was probably a smart move in retrospect now of Rudd to let Williams go when he had that move down into Honda corner. He probably knew that there was a penalty coming.
Rudd would have seen it play out behind him in the rearview mirror. No doubt about that. Saw the contact and obviously saw the call from James Scott and just let Williams by. No point in trying to batter up that BMW and potentially sacrifice his race. Todd Hayne up on the inside of 3. Gets it done. That's going to promote Carmichael, though, into his slipstream. Can Carmichael have a run onto him into Honda? A big, big overtaking opportunity all the way back down to 1st gear. Does he play it offensive? Carmichael with the run. Up the inside of Hayne he goes. Dean Powell in the mix of this as well. Mitch Campbell, Blake Warboys as well. Warboys up the inside of Campbell, gets the move done. A lot of scrapping for position now, ladies and gentlemen. We haven't seen too much of the action further down the pack because the action at the front of the field has been absolute fire tonight.
Here we go.
Kobe Williams takes his trip to pit lane for this drive-through. He decides to serve that. That promotes Rudd into the lead. Thomas into 2nd. And Rudd gets a nice little run out of the final corner. Thomas only making up little bits of ground. Not close enough to have a run into 1. But is Thomas playing it safe? James Scott now promoted into 5th position. That gives Blake Delaney a podium as well. It's a fishy 2-3 so far. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Carmichael over the back of Hayne now. These two scrapping it out. What's Dean Powell doing? He's just going to play it safe for now. It's a drag race to Honda between Carmichael and Hayne. Hayne on the outside. That promotes him to the inside for Honda, but Carmichael goes defensive. That promotes Dean Powell up the inside of Hayne. Little bit of argy-bargy contact. Dean Powell with a run on Hayne. Does he go around the outside? The car can hold it. That promotes Warboy up the inside of Powell. How's this for action? Mitch Campbell just waiting it out to see what happens with the boys. Lap 40 and 45, ladies and gentlemen. JP, the action is really starting to turn on in these dying stages.
Yeah, they're really pushing hard now.
Look at this, through the final couple corners. Dean Powell goes to the pits. Dean Powell with the trip to pit lane. I wonder what's going on with Dean Powell. That's not good news for him. Blake Warboys, though. Look at the run he's got on Todd Hayne. Throws it up the inside to turn one. Down Gardner Straight. Move done. But that promotes Hayne to the inside. Warboys holds his line. Around the outside, he does it the hard way and gets the move done on Hayne. Now he can chase after Carmichael. Warboys, Hayne, Campbell, Williams, and Alec all in this battle together, ladies and gentlemen. Carmichael leading that one. Not much change between first and second. Dylan Rudd still holding it off. Ross Thallon, though, from RSW Graphics, sitting down there in 15th position. He's up 7 from where he started. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, this is a big thank you to all the sponsors that make everything happen for the SRT boys. John Lee from Racecraft, Nathan Bennett from SRT Australia, Brenton from iClear Solar, Hayden and Jordan Sowell from Racing Ears Custom Ears Protect, Ross Stallon from RSW Graphics, Ash Davis from AD3D Printing, and Benny Siren from Cutting Edge.
And I think we're now seeing Josh Thomas start to turn the wick up here.
Josh Thomas has found some pace out of his BMW. It's the dying laps, 42 or 45, ladies and gentlemen, around Phillip Island for the 9ine5ive Invitational for BMW mates. Drops off a little bit out of 3 and 4. Gets under the slipstream, comes back up onto Rudd in the Honda. Can Rudd take it out for his team and bring it home in the #1 spot for the 9ine5ive Invitational?
Gets a really good run there.
Rudd got a stellar run out of that corner. Thomas, not so much. Thomas dropped back to half a second behind him, but makes it up in the slipstream. Rudd's starting to really turn it on as well. They've both found the loud pedal. They've left Delaney behind them. Delaney can't do much. Delaney's dropped a second to these guys. These guys are really turning it on.
Yeah, with 3 laps to go, these guys are still driving at 10 tenths. They're giving it absolutely everything.
10 tenths they are. James Scott is driving at 100 tenths. He's trying to make up as much time to try and catch up to Jamie Dye. Might not have enough time in him to catch Blake Delaney and get back on the podium. Would have been good to see that man in here for a post-race. See how the race went. Ask him how his Scops is going and the AOSC for him. I believe they're on a break for AOSC. So they're about to start their new season for the Australian Online Supercar Championship. That's on Friday nights. But don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we're pre-qualifying at the moment for the Real Sim Racing Australasia for the Super Series and Super 2 Series. Only 2 more qualifying sessions to go for those boys, and we've got our grid sorted. That'll be coming to you live next Tuesday night with Zach Cave and Chris Kisby. And then Wednesday nights for the Super 2 will be myself and most likely Peter or JP joining me alongside in the booth. And that's bound to throw up some action there, ladies and gentlemen. On board at the moment with Rob Carmichael down in 9th position. Kobe Williams behind him. Kobe Williams trying to make up some time for that drive-through penalty that he got. Rob Carmichael goes very defensive. Sacrifices his run. Gets a little bit sideways. Williams all over the back of Carmichael through the final couple corners. Gardner straight. What's that going to throw down for these two? Does Williams get a good run on Carmichael? Williams gets a shocking run out of the final corner, but enough slipstream to catch up to Carmichael. Look at that. 3 car lengths behind and catches up in a heartbeat. Up the inside of Carmichael, he goes through one and gets it done.
Yeah, nice move. Job done.
How's that by Kobe Williams? Up the inside of Carmichael on the fastest spot of the track. Through turn 1, flat out, and gets the move done. But how about this, ladies and gentlemen? The fight for the lead. Lap 44 or 45. Almost time to go over for the last lap. Thomas and Rudd, they've been dueling it all race long. Who's going to give in? Who's going to fumble? The pressure's been there.
Yeah, we've seen
Couple
this.
more corners to go before they take the white flag.
We've seen this before, and once again, Josh Thomas is about as close to the back of Rudd's car as he's ever been. So he's got a great run coming out of there and trying to make up some time now.
Thomas right on the back of the bumper. Rudd, he has a look up the inside of one. Rudd goes defensive. That promotes Thomas to the outside. Rudd now goes to the inside for 2 and 3. He's got to be careful. He can't play too defensive in these because he knows the slipstream's big. Thomas is going to have a look inside Honda. Watch Rudd to play defensive here. Rudd holds the outside. Plays defensive into Honda. Gets the power down. Ladies and gentlemen, the action on the last lap between Thomas and Rudd. Thomas all over the back of Rudd. Now this is going to be a drag race to the finish line if Thomas can get right up under the rear wing. Lights are ablaze. But Rudd and Thomas have left Blake Delaney. Look at this though. Thomas up the inside and Rudd over the hill. It's going to be a battle to the finish. Rudd gets a good drive out of the corner. Thomas all over the back of him. Is this Rudd's race to lose now? Yes, it is. One more corner to go. He's played the smart card all race long. It's a drag race between Thomas and Rudd to the finish line. It's millimeters in it. Oh, that's that for a finish, ladies and gentlemen, between Dylan Rudd and Joshua Thomas. A drag race to the finish line and Rudd gets it done. He played the smart card sitting behind Scott. He saved the fuel. He had a 3-second less pit stop time than Scott. Played it smart and it's paid off in the end. Dylan Rudd from the 9ine5ive SimSport crew. Take your hat off, mate. You drove that one superb.
Absolutely
what
brilliant
an
race.
Absolute cracking race, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to turn up the volume and let you go for a hot lap. But the action was just too fierce after that safety car had been called. What a race. I need a packet of strepsils to die the throat down. It's been a workout. It's a Fishy Motorsport 2 and 3 to Thomas and Delaney. James Scott was able to get the move done and get up into 4th position. Just missed out. There must have been something that happened to Jamie Dykes because he fell down to 6th. That promoted Sean McNamara, though, up into 5th position. Time for the boys to have a little bit of fun on track by the looks of it as well. But that man on screen played his cards right all race long. Just tucked into the slipstream of James Scott. Saved as much fuel as he possibly could. He had plenty of pace over James Scott, but he decided to play, to sit and wait. And it paid off for him in the end, as he avoids a car spinning coming through the final couple quarters. Can he get a burnout in the M8? We'll find out. We'll see. But it doesn't look like it. Into pit lane he goes. No burnout tonight by the race winner, ladies and gentlemen. As there's cars flying everywhere coming into pit lane.
Absolute
The
carnage.
boys are having fun. They're letting their hair down. Ladies and gentlemen, leave us a comment. How was that race? JP, your thoughts, mate, before we start getting into the unofficial results of the race.
Absolute crack of a race. Really disappointing to see James Scott get bundled out there. You know, I mean, look, certainly wouldn't have been intentional by Kobe just going for a gap that was, you know, a gap with diminishing returns there. But, you know, the race by Dylan was probably as smart as you can get it, just buying his time and getting that jump in the pit stop. And then for the entire race, he really did look like he had control of the field.
He had the control of the field for the rest of the race, especially after that safety car restart, that's for sure. And we get our podium into the broadcast room for you, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Rudd, Thomas, and I believe there is Delaney there as well. But how's that, ladies and gentlemen? Dylan Rudd taking out the number one step for the 9ine5ive Invitational for the BMW mates at Phillip Island. Joshua Thomas in second, Blake Delaney in third, James Scott in fourth after a shocking spin due to Kobe there in the dying moments of the race. Sean McNamara in fifth position, Jamie Dyke in sixth, Blake Warboy seventh, Todd Hayne, our reigning champion. He's down in eighth position, Kobe Williams in ninth, Rob Carmichael in 10th. So, let that scroll through. Mitch Campbell, Alex Aney, Alexander Newton, Troy Maguire, Ross Stallon, Jamie Davis, Christopher Mitchell, Dean Powell. Unfortunate race for him. He was doing really well at the end of it there until a pit lane penalty by the looks of it. Dave Coleman and Bent Joe Hannison as well. You're rounding out your top 20. But, ladies and gentlemen, we've got our podium in the booth at the moment. We'll start off with our race winner, the new number one, taking home the one plate, going into the next invitational. Dylan Rudd, mate, you played an absolutely stellar strategy on that one. You sat behind Scott for majority of the race. You saved quite a lot of fuel. It really showed on your pit stop time, a 17.78 second pit stop to Scott's 20.20. Mate, was that part of the strategy all along? You had the pace over him, but didn't get the move done.
Yeah, I'm not sure I quite had the pace. Actually underfueled the car by 6 litres in the pit stop, so the safety car actually made me make it to the end. So yeah, but yeah, there wasn't much pulling away because the draft was very strong around this track. So yeah,
there is a very big draft around this track, I must admit, mate. It really showed in the dying stages there between the battle of between you and Thomas, leading up the end. Thomas always got the run onto you, and boy, it made for some good action through turn one towards the last lap there. Underfueled the car by 6 litres. Now, mate, that's something that you don't want to do, so you're quite thankful for that safety car.
Yeah, yeah, wasn't ideal. Had JRT, but didn't put in enough due to I was using less fuel under fuel saving, so I didn't acquaint for pushing. So yeah.
Well, you're lucky that safety car came out, mate, because that might have been a race done for you, that's for sure. And who knows, it might have played out different for the podium for you as well, ladies and gentlemen. Mate, the BMWs around Phillip Island, they stick like glue by the looks of it. Tyres tonight, we know you can get a couple stints out of them. How are the tyres going out on track?
You definitely feel the tyre wear in the last few laps, but yeah, just had to manage it. Was managing it in the first stint, and yeah, just try to keep them together for the whole race.
Well, you've got a target painted on your back now, though, mate. You take home the number one plate going in for the next invitational, which Macca should be putting up. Will give us a date for the next invitational. But that's going to paint a big target on your back. We saw Todd Hayne last year's last invitational champion. Didn't have that stellar of a race tonight. Is that going to be putting the pressure onto you for the next invitational?
No, I don't think so. Just race my own race and see how it pans out.
Well, mate, stick around. We'll let you thank some sponsors. We'll go to the rest of our podium sitter. At the moment, I think we don't have Delaney in the booth tonight, but we'll go to Josh anyway. Get a couple words from him, and we'll get some thanks for the sponsors for you guys out of the way. Josh, mate, haven't spoken to you before. Neither have I spoken to Rudd. But congratulations on P2, mate. You hung out in 4th position for quite a while. Was that just to see what the boys up front were doing?
Yeah, definitely. I just wanted to stay out of trouble as well. And then I dropped off about mid-race. My wheelbase turned off halfway through. around the top of the circuit, so I had to catch back up. But eventually got back around to him, and yeah, just chilled out in fourth, and was just waiting for a bit of the argy-bargy to start. And fortunately enough, I was just in a good position to miss it all. And then yeah, from then on, it was just hug on to the draft and then try and have a go on the last lap.
Oh, there we go, JP. That answers our questions. It wasn't a slowdown. It was a actual technical failure on Josh's end. So, luckily enough, mate, you didn't actually crash off the circuit there and had your night done. But nevertheless, you made up some absolutely stellar time there towards the end. Played the safe car. You did. You had Kobe Williams and Scott in front of you, and unfortunately for Scott, got spun by Kobe Williams, and that then promoted you up in a second position by the time Kobe Williams copped his penalty. After that, mate, what was the thoughts in the head? Did you know you had the pace over Dylan, or?
It was a lot of stress relief, I guess. Instead of 4 people fighting for a win, it was just the 2. So yeah, a bit of weight lifted off the shoulders, and then it was just honestly, I wasn't too phased whether it was first or second. I knew it was going to be close. But yeah, it was just hands down, don't make any mistakes, hang on to the rear end of him and then give it a crack on the last lap and not crash. So did that. Hopefully it made for a good race, good race to watch. And yeah, like I said, happy with second.
Mate, and made for an absolute stellar race. The action really turned on after that safety car, the only safety car in the race tonight, and that was due to Simon Chadwick. By the looks of it, he had a hardware failure or just dropped the wheel in the dirt, and there was no point in putting the brakes on because you cannot stop a BMW M8 GTE on grass and sand. So into the wall he went. That's what called out the safety car. Mate, stick around. We'll get a thanks for some sponsors from you very shortly. On to our third place sitter, though, ladies and gentlemen, from the Fishy Motorsport crew. You definitely know the car floating around on track. You probably know the man behind the wheel of that car in the number 08. Blake Delaney, mate, congratulations on third position. Again, first time talking to you tonight, interviewing you. How was your thoughts on the race, mate?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I was probably a benefactor of the last 2 guys coming off the track. Or James copping an unfortunate hit, and then Williams getting a penalty. So pretty surprised to be up here, but I had a lonely race all race, mate. I spent a bit of time all by myself for most of it. Just couldn't get past those back markers quick enough to hang with the front guys, but I don't think I've got the pace to hang around with them, though.
Yeah, you had your teammate Jamie down just behind you as well. You two raced a fairly lonely race towards the end of it, and obviously lucky enough to get promoted up into P3 with the spin of Scott and the penalty of Williams there, mate. Come into talk of the safety car there on the restart. What were the thoughts coming out of that one?
We weren't actually sure whether or not we were going on green or the leader had the field. So at that stage, I had no idea, waiting for the green, and then the boys at the front got the jump, obviously. So I missed that a little bit, but yeah, a little bit better reading of the rule book probably would have had me in good stead.
Yeah, well, there's a bit of confusion on that one. I was a little bit confused myself as well. I did read green through the rules as well, but I believe that might have only been for race start. So Macca, mate, might be able to confirm that for us. But, mate, nevertheless, you've had an absolute stellar race and definitely lucked out to come up onto the podium and take home P3 there. Stick around. We'll get some thanks from you very shortly from sponsors. But we're moving on to, I believe, there is Macca sitting in the booth down there, mate. Mate, stellar race by you, 5th position. We'll just get a few words from you, mate, and you've got a bit to mention.
Yeah, look, I'll keep it as short and sweet as I can. But we're on the podium. Boys did a great job. It was a good racing all night. I think the race was probably a bit longer than I anticipated. So thank you. But just shout out to all the race control guys, Alex, Mark, and Jono for jumping in. Yourself and JP for giving up your time for this as well. Yeah, and what do we have? 38, 40 something competitors tonight. So it was an absolute blast. John from Racecraft is in here at the moment, and look, he's put up $50 each in our racing credits for the first top 3 home. So, you know, Dylan, Josh, and Blake, you all, thanks to John at Racecraft, you pick up $50 worth of our racing credits. And so massive thanks to you, John, for your support in this race, mate. Absolutely appreciate it, as I'm sure everyone does.
Now, over to John from Racecraft himself. I'm sure if everybody's watching at home, if you are in the sim world, you know what racecraft is. For those of you that are watching at home, John, just give us a quick insight of what you do over there, mate, in WA. I know we've spoken a couple times about some sims and a mate of mine wanting a fairly out there sim as well. To give us a quick rundown of what you do, mate.
Yeah, sure. We first of all, we specialize in racing simulators. You know, from mild to wild or whatever. Everything's custom made. Everything's made here in Australia as well. So, and we have a centre with 11 machines in there, so you can come in and if you're in Perth, that is, and have a go at it all and see if it you know tickles your fancy, and then you can go home and see how deep the rabbit hole goes. Really, because it goes pretty deep.
The rabbit hole does go deep, mate, and I've seen a few prices out there for one of you the most wildest sims out there, and yeah, definitely, it looks amazing. It probably feels amazing to drive, but definitely the rabbit hole does go deep. No,
Yeah.
mate, thank you very much for joining us tonight, and obviously sponsoring, throwing up $50 credit to first, second, and third. And if you are in the Perth region, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to stop in, say good day to John. From Racecraft. Have a try of his sim. I know his frames are absolutely A1 and they're as strong as anything. They can handle a direct drive wheel and the motion all in one. So big thank you to him for joining us tonight, and a big congratulations on all the work that he does for everybody. And I'm sure there's another thank you for Macca for lending a graphics card out to him when he's cooked the bed.
Shh, don't remind him.
And Macca, we've got another driver in here, Jamie Davis. Now, I believe that may be for a Coleman medal. Would I be correct?
Indeed. So a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek, but Mr. Coleman from Fishy Motorsports did point out that why should the top three get all the fun? So on top of the $50, obviously the top three get some amazing trophies from of course 3D printing and the Cutting Edge Tracks Australia. So I'll get some addresses after this, but. You know, we also wanted to give someone the opportunity to get a best and fairest, so to speak, and the race control crew have come up with Jamie Davis, who gets the McDonald's Man of the Match $15 bloody voucher. So I hope he doesn't spend it all at once. But look, yeah, Jamie made up 23 spots tonight and didn't have many incident points either. So he did a stunning job to drive through the field, and yeah, he picks up the first ever Coleman medal.
Jamie, mate, congratulations on that one. 23 positions gained in the BMW M8 GT around Phillip Island. That's a hard feat on its own. We didn't see too much overtaking towards the start of the race. It all sort of happened towards the end. How hard is it really to throw the cars up on the inside around here when you really rely on that slipstream?
Oh, no, thank you very much, guys. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, driving these cars is it's a dream, but it's also tricky because if you're 1 or 2 meters too late, then you got rear end squirms and it's really hard to keep it under control. So trying to pass in one of these cars, unless you get a lot of cooperation, it's very hard.
Well, mate, congratulations, nevertheless, for taking out that end of the deal there. 23 positions gained. That is a big feat on a field of 42 cars tonight. We'll start off with you, Jamie, in a few thanks to sponsors. You're in the booth. We'll get you to thank a few sponsors that are on board with you. We'll go to Macca and then finish up with our podium.
Not a problem. Thank you. Thank you to AutoServe who sponsor our team, all the boys in there, great bunch of lads. And yeah, quick thank you for commentary, race control, JP, and Racecraft, 9ine5ive SimSports, just everybody for making this happen. It's been fun.
Macca, you got the floor, mate.
Yeah, look, obviously shout out to our sponsors, SOT Australia, Racecraft Simulations, Racing Ears, Custom Ears Protection, iClean, Solar, Ipswich and Brisbane, Cutting Edge Tracks, AD 3D Printing, and we've got a new sponsor coming on board as well next week. So just write those down, Dylan, for when you get there, mate. But yeah, so thanks to all those guys. Couldn't do what we do without it, and I'm really stoked to be able to get a big field in tonight. And of course, another shout out to Race Control and you guys for your time and effort.
Anytime, mate. Dylan, we'll let you get some time in to write some of those sponsors down. We'll get Macca to send those over to you. Blake, mate, we'll get you to do us some sponsor thanks. I know you got the Fishy Boys over there, so the floor is yours, mate.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Oh, look, first of all, to Josh and Dylan, you guys were out of control. The pace was just on another level. We're way too good up the front there. Great result there, Dylan. Great win. Well on to you, Joshy, in second. To Fishy Boys and all the viewers, get on board Fishy Motorsports. Our sponsors: Black Wolf Graphics, Sydney Computers, Relax Game Fishing, DC Shades, Sideways Photography, and a massive shout out to the 9ine5ive boys for organising. We will definitely be on board whenever the next one is. I assume either very soon or very every year, whatever it is. John from Racecraft, great work for sponsoring, mate, and JP and Maddie in the booth there. Well done. I'll look forward to watching the stream later.
Thank you very much, mate. Good race, that's for sure. Josh, mate, the floor is yours for some sponsors.
Similar to Blake, thanks to the Fishy Boys, Sydney Computers, Black Wolf Graphics, Sideways Photography, Precision Sim Training, and yeah, all the Fishy Boys, everyone that took their time out of the day to get this thing running. It was awesome fun, and yeah, thanks heaps, fellas. Looking forward to doing it again sometime.
And that's 4 cars for the Fishy Boys in the top 10 as well, ladies and gentlemen, just to make that one clear. So those boys have had an absolute stellar race over there tonight in that corner. Dilla, mate, race winner. We'll let you have the floor for some sponsor thanks before we wrap up this broadcast as we go to almost 25 past 10 at night.
Yeah, thanks. Just thank SRT Australia, Racecraft Simulations, iClean Solar, Ipswich and Brisbane, Racing Ears, Custom Ear Protection, RSW Graphics, 3D printing services, and Cutting Edge Tracks. And John from Racecraft, Sean for organising and doing everything for this event, for the race control and commentary team.
Thank you, mate. Now, Mako, before we wrap up the broadcast and thank the sponsors quickly, when is the next invitational event going to be held?
Have a date, but it'll be a week 13 event is what our plan is for each week 13 period to give everyone a bit of focus. So we'll probably roll it a week earlier for the next one, but yeah, week 13 we'll roll again.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen, the 9ine5ive SimSports Invitational for the BMW M8s. Is it going to be the M8s next time? We're looking at throwing something different at the drivers.
We had talked about dirt and a few different things, so we'll wait and see what pops up, and we'll throw something different in, I think.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a bit of a surprise. So, Ian, look forward to the week 13 race by the 9ine5ive SimSport crew for the Invitational. And a quick thank you to our sponsors, John Lee from Racecraft, Nathan Bennett from SRT Oz. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us in the sim due to a knee surgery today. So hopefully he's mending on the mend and can get back in the sim. iClean Solar, Brenton over there. We've got Hayden and Jaron Sell from Racing Ears, Custom Ears Protect, Ross Dallin from RSW Graphics, Ash Davis from AD 3D Printing Services doing all the trophies, alongside with Benny Siren from Cutting Edge. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for us tonight from the 9ine5ive corner for the Invitational for the BMW mates. Look forward to Tuesday night and Wednesday night motorsport next week. JP Simshed bringing it on for the Super Series, Real Sim Racing Australasia Super Series and the Real Sim Racing Australasia Super 2 E-Series. Both going live at 8:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Times. And then this Saturday as well, we've got Weekend Warriors Cup Car Racing. I believe Aidan Schultz is going to be taking the helm of that one. Tuesday nights will be Zach Cabe and Chris Gisby. And Wednesday nights will be myself, Matt Davis, and most likely Peter Gretton or JP alongside me. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for your Monday night motorsport tonight. Thank you for joining us wherever you're tuning in from. We'll hope to see you for Saturday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night motorsports. But from myself, Matt Davis, JP, and the rest of the crew, I bid you good night and see you next time.